Our tale begins with an author named Charlotte Perkins Gilman, a woman of letters in a time when quills were mightier than swords. Born amidst the bustling 19th century, she penned a spine-chilling story that continues to haunt readers to this day. The Yellow Wallpaper is a chilling journey into the realm of psychological horror, a narrative that delves into the mind's most shadowy corners. The stage is set. Brace yourself for a journey into the eerie depths of the human mind. Imagine finding yourself in a seemingly charming yet eerily quiet mansion, a place that whispers of forgotten tales and secrets. Our story begins with our protagonist and her husband John stepping into this grand yet unsettling abode. The mansion, draped in an overwhelming silence, seems to swallow any semblance of noise, making the air feel heavy and still. As the couple moves through the house, our protagonist is awestruck by its grandeur, yet a sense of unease coils within her. The mansion, with its towering walls and intricate architecture, feels like a beautiful cage, a place that promises solace but delivers uncertainty. Her eyes, drawn to the peculiar details, uncover a strange beauty in the mansion's antique charm. But beneath the gilded surface, she can't shake off a creeping sensation, an uncanny feeling that something isn't quite right. And so, our protagonist's journey begins, in a mansion that seems charming but is shrouded in mystery. But in this mansion, not everything is as it seems. A room at the top, draped in yellow wallpaper, becomes her prison. This room, our protagonist's newfound sanctuary, is swathed in an unappealing, almost repulsive shade of yellow wallpaper. The colour, a sickly sulphur tint, is reminiscent of a decaying sunflower or an aged, forgotten manuscript, its vibrancy long lost to time. The pattern, too, is a chaotic mess of florals and arabesques that seem to twist and twirl in an endless dance of madness. Her initial reaction to the wallpaper is one of distaste. She finds it hideous, even revolting. The very sight of it unsettles her. The pattern seeming to pulsate and mutate under her gaze. The colour, the pattern, the smell. It all seems to seep into her very being, staining her thoughts with an indelible yellow hue. But then something shifts. As days meld into weeks, her revulsion gradually morphs into a morbid fascination. She finds herself drawn to the wallpaper, her eyes tracing its convoluted patterns during the day, and her dreams haunted by its ceaseless dance at night. This simple, banal object becomes the center of her universe, an obsession that consumes her waking hours. She begins to see things in the wallpaper. A woman, trapped behind the bars of the pattern, mirrors her own feelings of imprisonment. The protagonist's empathy for this imagined captive intensifies her obsession, fueling her need to free the woman, to free herself. The wallpaper, once a mere nuisance, now dictates her every moment. It has become a living entity, its patterns breathing and moving with a life of its own. The once repugnant yellow now pulses with an eerie allure, drawing her further and further into its labyrinthine design. The room, her refuge, has transformed into a prison, the wallpaper its bars. Her life, once dictated by societal norms and expectations, is now ruled by the whims of the yellow wallpaper. She is trapped, not by the walls of the room but by the confines of her own mind, a prisoner to her growing obsession. And so the wallpaper begins to consume her every thought. As the days pass, the protagonist's fascination with the wallpaper grows into an obsession. Unbeknownst to her, she is on a slippery slope, a descent into a chilling madness that will consume her very being. The once benign yellow wallpaper now begins to take a life of its own. It's not just a simple pattern anymore, it's a canvas for her delusions. A sinister presence seems to emerge from its intricate design, a woman trapped within the labyrinthine patterns. She becomes convinced that this woman is desperate to escape, just as she is desperate to escape her own stifling existence. Her mind, once filled with thoughts of the outside world, is now entirely consumed by the wallpaper. It's all she can think about, all she can see. She begins to lose track of time, of the world outside her room. The wallpaper is her world now, a macabre world where reality is distorted and the boundaries between the animate and the inanimate blur. Her days turn into nights, and her nights into days. Sleep eludes her as she spends her hours staring at the wallpaper, tracing its patterns, trying to make sense of the chaos. She isolates herself, pushing away her husband, her doctor, everyone who tries to pull her back from the edge. But the edge is where she wants to be, where she needs to be. It's where the woman in the wallpaper resides. Her obsession with the wallpaper takes a darker turn. She begins to see the trapped woman move, hear her rustle. The woman is desperate, she decides, desperate to escape just as she is. And in a twisted turn of fate, she finds solace in this shared desperation. She isn't alone anymore, she has the woman in the wallpaper. But as her condition deteriorates, so does her grip on reality. She starts to believe that she is the woman in the wallpaper. She feels trapped, just like the woman, trapped within the confines of the room, within the confines of her mind. She begins to tear at the wallpaper, trying to set the woman free, trying to set herself free. Her sanity shatters, fragmenting into 1,000 pieces, each piece echoing the woman's desperate cries for freedom. But freedom is elusive, just like the woman in the wallpaper. She can't quite reach it, can't quite grasp it. And the more she tries, the further it slips away. The room, once her sanctuary, is now her prison. The wallpaper, once just a pattern, is now her tormentor. And she, once a woman of sound mind, is now a woman on the brink of madness. Her reality blurs, and the line between the wallpaper and the woman trapped within it starts to fade. She is the wallpaper. She is the woman. She is trapped. And in this chilling descent into madness, she loses herself, loses her identity, loses her grip on reality. The descent is complete, the madness all-consuming. The woman in the wallpaper has won. In the final days of her stay, the protagonist descends into complete madness. As the days morph into a timeless blur, our protagonist is consumed by the yellow wallpaper. Her reality is now a twisted blend of the real and the imagined. The wallpaper, once a mere decoration, becomes her tormentor and her confidant, the keeper of her sanity and the harbinger of her madness. She begins to see herself in the woman trapped behind the wallpaper's grotesque pattern. The woman, desperate and frantic, is constantly trying to break free from her paper cage. Our protagonist, consumed by this reflection of her own imprisoned spirit, resolves to liberate this spectral prisoner. At first, she merely peels off the wallpaper in small patches. But soon, her desperation mirrors that of the woman in the wallpaper. She tears at the monstrous yellow walls, ripping away large swathes of the paper in a frenzied attempt to free the woman, to free herself. The room, once a symbol of her confinement, is now an echo of her crumbling mind. The torn wallpaper flutters like the wings of a trapped bird, each tear a cry for freedom, each shred a piece of her sanity lost. In her madness, she begins to crawl over the remnants of the wallpaper, tracing the path of the woman trapped within the yellow labyrinth. She believes she is the woman is her. Their identities merge in a dance of delirium, their desperation twinned in the shared desire for freedom. Finally, as the last piece of wallpaper falls away, she believes she has freed the woman, she has freed herself. Laughter echoes off the bare walls, a chilling symphony of relief and madness. Her husband finds her in this state of manic liberation, crawling and laughing in the ruins of the yellow wallpaper. He faints, unable to comprehend the depths of her madness. In her mind, she has freed herself, but at what cost? In the end, the yellow wallpaper leaves us with a chilling echo. The story we've journeyed through is one painted in shades of terror and despair, a haunting exploration of a woman's descent into madness. It's a tale that's as much about mental health as it is about the oppressive societal constructs of its time. We've seen our protagonist trapped within the confines of a room, her world reduced to the grotesque patterns of the yellow wallpaper. It's here, in this claustrophobic space, that she spirals into an abyss of insanity, driven to the brink by isolation and a lack of understanding from those around her. The yellow wallpaper, an object of her obsession, becomes a symbol of her struggle, a reflection of her deteriorating mental health. It's a story that serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences of neglecting mental health and the dangers of extreme isolation. But it's not just a story about an individual's struggle. It's also a reflection of the societal constraints on women during the era. The protagonist's husband, who dismisses her concerns and dictates her treatment, represents the patriarchal society that sought to control and suppress women's voices. The Yellow Wallpaper is, in essence, a chilling commentary on the societal and psychological factors that can drive a person to the edge. It's a tale that forces us to confront the reality of mental illness and the importance of empathy and understanding. The Yellow Wallpaper, a haunting tale that lingers, a stark reminder of the fragile human mind and its susceptibility to the horrors of isolation.